Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
In a world where fans fight over whether to call it football, or soccer, two German men defy the odds and call it Fußball. Bringing you inside the German-American football experience. And now, here are your hosts, the Schnitzel Boys.
Yeah!
Hey!
Oh,
Hey! Hey!
And
Hey!
the Super Classico in Las Vegas, Nevada, baby. The Golden Nugget Casino presents the Super Classico between Robert Lewandowski's Barcelona and David Alaba's Real Madrid, where they had a loving embrace after the game because they're old buds. How you doing, Bjorn?
We can't talk about any of these charades of games.
I'll admit, I'm egging you on a little bit because it's summer-friendly season. Here in LA, there are $100 tickets in the Rose Bowl to go see Juventus versus Real Madrid. How excited are you about these games, Bjorn?
I can honestly say I pay zero attention to them. I saw a clip of Conor Gallagher attempting a Panenka and failing. That made me laugh. So I did get some. I got some entertainment out of it. I also was teasing my son, who was an Everton fan, about them getting beaten by
Minnesota
United. Well, so I guess I can't say that I don't pay any attention. If you spend, well. Do you want to get into this? I guess we're into it.
I'd love to get into how... let's get into it.
I think there is a... I think people are doing it wrong. If you spend $100 to go to a game like that, that's wrong.
Right. Well, you have to. That's what they cost.
I'm not generally someone who's very judgmental or very prescriptive about what other people should or shouldn't do, and I think, but this is just something where I really feel like this is just designed. It's just a ripoff. Like these are preseason games. They should be free. You should be watching this. You should be like if Bochum. Back in the day when Bochum had like a preseason game in Wuppertal or whatever on the lawn, they'd charge you like $5 to get in, and there'd be like a free hot dog included. Like
what I will say is that Florida, because my family is in Florida, and back pre-COVID, around January or so, a lot of Bundesliga clubs were in Florida, either in Fort Lauderdale or Orlando, doing a lot of like the half preseason. You know how the Bundesliga has a mini preseason in January before the second half, before the Rückrunde. And Schalke, I remember one year Bayer Leverkusen was Orlando, Schalke was in Fort Lauderdale, and there was maybe one other club around there, maybe Dortmund. And they played friendlies with each other, and I think they were free, if not cheap. And those were cool. Like that I
think that's fine. Preseason is not for the fans. Preseason's for the players.
Right.
They get ready. This is not, there's
but it's become this huge, which always amazes me. Here in the United States, for years, there's history here, little soccer history. They've been doing this forever. But I remember in the early aughts when Tim Howard was signed by Manchester United for $2.3 million, and he had his debut, I think, against Juventus in Giant Stadium. Like Champions World was the old company. Which is whatever the new company is, Relevant Sports, whatever's doing it now, and like I'm just impressed at how good they do because it's a thing. I remember when Bayern München played Manchester United in Chicago, this was in 2003. I didn't recognize any of those players. I still wouldn't have. It was like it was the Manchester United reserves versus the Bayern München reserves in front of a full house in Chicago. It was scoreless draw and it ended on penalties. And like they're paying premium price for watch the kids play, and it's just a marketing cash grab, and it works every time. So good on them for doing it.
I understand, people who are very into these teams and they want to see them in person. I guess I get that on some level, but support your local team. Support your local team. It's going to be cheap. it's going to be cheaper.
Vermont Green.
People will be happy to see you. People will reach
like,
out
I'm part
to
of
you, and there is this kind of snobbery behind this. Like I have a bunch of friends who are like the fucking they called it the International Champions Cup or whatever. Again, that's not a thing anymore. Now it's like they're doing other stuff. It's the
Florida Cup.
The Florida Cup, because the international, nobody even won, right? Like, it was just sort of like a name.
I think a couple of teams canceled.
It's just a complete charade. And these MLS teams also are fielding their second squads, which they should, because they're actually in season playing competitive games.
Right.
And people are, I also understand that, I guess. It's like this gateway drug, maybe. You're supposed to, if you see Minnesota United play...
Right, Everton, maybe you'll go
and then
again.
You'll go back again. I understand it all on some level, but it also is just kind of like, I don't think it really works.
What I will say is it's fun. It's not for the real soccer fans. That's true. For instance, I didn't even know.
What is fun about it? It's not
going out and going to the game and Lambeau Field. The big house and. It's fun for regular folk, I think. Maybe not necessarily. Euro snobs and regular folk that want to get out of the house, good for them.
Daniel, our one viewer just turned off. I said the wrong thing. We just alienated our one viewer.
No, anyway. He'll be back. He'll be back. What I will say is our counter tends to be inaccurate. Sometimes it says 0 and they're still watching. So
anyway, that's real quick. It's like
no.
What were you gonna say, real quick?
I was going to say, I'm part of the Bayern Munich group, and then it's nice for them to go to D.C. and do a meet and greet with the players and stuff like that. Like, that part is cool. Unfortunately, they couldn't come to the West Coast this year, but I remember when Bayern Munich came to New York a few years ago. That was a lot of fun. We went to a couple different player events. There's a lot of fun events, and that can be fun. It's a great way to meet people in person over the summertime. So good on them. It's a good preseason for the clubs because whenever they travel elsewhere, they complain.
No,
the United States is the only country in the world that has a 100,000 seater stadium every 3 miles because of all the colleges and universities.
Yeah, it's big money. It's big money. It's also now what I also don't like. There's the Twitter jockeys who then use this as analysis about where is the state of these leagues or how do things compare or what is
it's all nonsense.
All absolute nonsense. Yeah. It's like there's nothing to be learned from any of this.
And what's fun? I'm going to challenge you a little bit. I've every now and then I watch these games and they can be fun for me. I watched the Bayern Munich DC United game.
Okay.
And Bayern Munich just ran circles around them, but still, it was fun. I don't know. I liked watching these United players give it their all and try to get around the Bayern players. I don't know. It was fun to see. I know it's preseason. I know it's off season a little bit, but it's fun seeing them go head to head a little bit. And some results were better than others. Charlotte beat Chelsea. Right. And they put that on their Wikipedia article.
And penalty kicks. Yeah.
It's a big deal for them. Good on them, And like I said, Minnesota United handling Everton and Orlando having a decent game against Arsenal. It's just fun. So, but yeah, you're right. My one criticism would be fans treat it way too seriously.
Way too seriously.
Use it for negativity.
And these same people, they don't come to other games. That's the other thing.
Right.
My credentials of supporting my local team, I think, are established. If I decided, Bayern is coming to town, I want to see, fine. But this sort of these people calling themselves, I don't want to be too snobby, but I'm kind of being a reverse snob here in a way, that these people are like, this is, these are the real titans of the game. You're watching them in preseason, and for the money that you're paying, you could probably, fly to. When was it that Classico? No, but not this year. This year it hasn't. But when was it? Last year or a couple years ago? They had that Classico
in Miami.
And
which was a fun game, I thought.
And they were, but the tickets were like $800-900. I was like,
ridiculous.
You could fly to Madrid and watch your team play in an actual game that counts for about the same or a little bit more. If you can afford to pay $800 to see them in Miami, you can afford to pay $1,500
to fly to Spain,
and watch them and then have an actual experience versus this
faux experience.
Faux
I didn't even know. I remember Miami was big news and stuff. I must be so out of the loop. I had no idea that Barcelona and Real Madrid played each other in Vegas. Like, I didn't know that game was happening. If it was happening, I might have put my butt up there and go up there, because why not? A Real Madrid.
Why not? I just told you why not. It's a ripoff.
Well, not for $800. Not for $800. It was a reasonable price. I'm looking at the Real Madrid Juventus game. They're $80, which is a little too much for me. But I can watch Weston McKennie. I can watch. Is Tony Kroos still with Real Madrid, or did he retire?
What do you mean? He won the Champions League recently.
I know. Did he retire after that, or is he still playing?
I don't think so. I believe he's still playing. He's at.
Well, then yeah. So I would go to Los Angeles, check out the Rose Bowl, watch Tony Kroos, watch Weston McKennie.
The best midfielder in that game.
Yeah, but maybe retire. I don't know. All I'm saying is, like, if it's reasonable price, I'd go watch the Real Madrid Juventus game. Why not?
Right.
But to each their own. But you're right. The other criticism is, like, ESPN FC talks way too much about it, and they're completely ignoring, like, the women's Euros and the MLS, and, all the competitive games that are happening.
Yeah, it's there's actual games in season that are happening.
Something we missed is the Bundesliga 2.
Oh, has started. Yeah, I know.
Is already 2 match days in.
I think 3,
last week on Greuther Fürth. Right. Yeah, I think that's 3. Julian Green and Timothy Tillman, or Malik Tillman, I get the Tillmans mixed up, both scored for Greuther Fürth. That's 2 Americans that scored 2 goals in a competitive game last week in Germany, and we, the Schnitzel Boys, completely missed it. So the Bundesliga 2 is happening. They got week 3. They got week 3 coming up, I think. And they're starting really early. I know they usually start early, but why are they starting so early?
Because the World Cup, of Qatar. Well, the second Bundesliga. This is a relatively recent thing. Over the last few years, that they start the second Bundesliga early on purpose, because they're getting more attention that way. There's more.
They also have a lot of Monday
ratings.
Games. Yeah.
There's no. I mean, the second Bundesliga has as many games as the first, so there's no real reason to start early. They don't have, like, more games to fit in, but this way, I guess they get a little bit more attention.
Those marketing guys at it again.
That's what they've been doing. Yeah.
Marketing.
What, marketing's bad?
Bad. So I'm yelling con. Well, whenever stuff changes, especially in the Bundesliga, like all the Monday games, they complain. They want it to be exactly the way it's.
Well, the Monday games. I mean, yeah.
We're here in MLS. It's like we have Tuesday games, man. Whatever. We got Wednesday morning games.
That's all gonna. But that's all ending next year with the Apple deal. See. It's all Wednesday, Saturday.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. That was very cryptic.
We'll see. All right. So I just want to get that out of the way. We have the summer friendlies. We have the Bundesliga 2. But we had a really exciting MLS weekend for both of us. I think we're both in great shape right now. So just in general, I feel in
great shape.
Yeah, me too. I themed this podcast called "Don't Call It a Comeback" or something about a comeback. I forget what it was, because a couple of teams this weekend had really great games, and especially in one case, they're like close to the playoffs all of a sudden. And these are teams I had written off, most notably Chicago Fire and Toronto FC. Chicago Fire got themselves a pretty good win over the weekend. I forgot exactly. I think Shaqiri got a decent goal. Let me look up. What was that result?
Shaqiri got one. Yeah, they won in Vancouver, 3-1.
3-1 Vancouver. Thank you. And they're now only 2 spots away from the playoffs. So I'm like, oh, that's how. Well, they were like last place up until.
I think they've won 5 of their last 8 or something. They have definitely come around. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not letting me click. Here we go. Chicago got what am I? No, that's New England Revolution. I clicked on. Come on. But yeah, Chicago making, here in the second half, it's not letting me click on them. But Chicago had a great game over the weekend. And what's his face from Cologne? Rafael Chicos is like also behind that Columbus Crew guy. As far as defense go, he's becoming signing of the season.
He is he's their captain now, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's captain, center back, and not only is he keeping it tight and back, he's also scoring all their goals. Dude's a beast. Well done.
He's scoring all their goals?
For a center back, he's scoring a decent amount of goals. Trying to think. Yeah, that's weird. Chicago isn't linking. Do they have a Google profile? It's weird.
They closed down.
They're closed down. Here are their players. Who they got here? Vancouver 3-1. And then Shiho scored in the 76th minute, Shaqiri. And then Chris Mueller, their addition from Hibernian.
Cash Mueller.
Scored a great back. Cash Mueller's back, scored a great goal, typical Mueller style on the corner. Very underrated player. So good on you for Chicago Fire. And secondly, a team that's further down, but again, only 6 points off the playoffs, because that's how MLS works, is Toronto FC.
Yeah,
Toronto FC.
The Italians are in.
Italians are in, man. They destroyed a team 4-0 over the weekend. Hold on, let me load Charlotte, who got a red card. It was just a bad game for Charlotte. But Toronto, Bernardeschi, their new winger, got a goal. Michael Bradley got 2 goals, including a great, I don't know if you saw the highlights or you saw the game. He had a great goal where he ran past 2 defenders through the box.
Yeah, he's
scored. It was like
finding new life. Amazing.
I was like, yeah, where's that been? Maybe Insigne and Bernardeschi are going to free up Michael Bradley to be a little more of an attacker these days. And
this will never. I'm going to go on record here now. This will never happen again. Michael Bradley will never score 2 goals in one game ever again for the rest of his career. That's my take.
I'll hold you to that, my friend. I'll hold you to that. Former Borussia Mönchengladbach, Michael Bradley. He's revived under his dad. But Toronto FC had the busiest summer. They had like 5. Did they sell 5 players and buy 5 new players? They just slashed their club.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff. They sent Pozuelo away. Pozuelo
to Miami.
Pozuelo intimated that there was some locker room problems. He really wasn't happy. But things are, it's happened. I mean, we'll see. This was Charlotte. I saw some of this game. Charlotte did not play well, and and so I don't know how much. The Toronto defense is still suspect, I think, for the rest of the year, and we'll see. But yeah, definitely very promising start for the. I think Bernardeschi is probably the more important signing for them. I think between the two, right? Like it looks like he really. Is at the top of his game. We'll see. I mean, Insigne, we'll see how he does, but he really is clearly going to make a difference. And good for them, I guess. Toronto. I don't.
We have to put our fandom aside.
I'm not rooting for them, but
technically, like we talked with New York way too much. if we want to be like just a general American soccer podcast, we're failing because we're only talking the New York clubs. But I just want to give a little love to Toronto, and it's exciting, and the fans up there, and they've got something to be excited about. And just like Chicago, maybe they can make themselves a second half push to the playoffs. And if Toronto FC make the playoffs this year, that would be very surprising because they have been very lackluster the whole first half of the season. So
yeah.
But again, Bjorn, second half,
and they will not.
Second half of the season is the season. Second half of the season.
My take. Here's another take again. Toronto will not make the playoffs.
Will Charlotte make the playoffs?
Maybe. I don't know.
No.
Charlotte. You say no?
The answer is no. No, they will not. Yep. They're too busy.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick one, I would probably say that too. It seems like just looking at the standings. I mean, the first 4 are not going anywhere, and then Orlando, Columbus, I think are probably gonna be okay too, and then somewhere it's gonna. We'll see if Chicago might challenge for the 4th spot. New England might
maybe. Never count out Bruce Arena. New England's in a transitionary phase, but never count out Bruce Arena. I mean, New England has Sebastian Lletget. I mean, that guy, that's an apple that fell way far off the tree, right? I mean, last year he was one of our best center midfielders, and we just haven't seen or heard much from him in a while. Is
this? You're serious? No.
About Sebastian Lletget?
But Sebastian Lletget, he's completely disappeared.
Off the wayside.
Like fell by the wayside. He's not on the.
Yeah.
He's not going to the World Cup. He's not getting called into the national team.
Up until a year ago,
career has imploded.
Yeah. Up until a year ago, he was a shoo-in for the World Cup, and now he's not off the roster. Yeah.
No, he's not.
Okay, so we have that. Boop, boop, boop. Sporting Kansas City has a brand new player. What are you saying?
I'm still recovering from you saying we talk about the New York teams too much. I don't know.
Of course we do. Of course we do. We're New York fans. What do you mean you don't know? We're New York fans.
If it's a microcosm of of everything soccer.
We spent 3 hours talking about Ronnie Dyla.
We put it in a larger context. We spent 3. Yeah, that's an hour. That's an hour less than I wanted to talk about him.
Yeah, we didn't talk about any other coaches. Teams need coaches. We didn't talk about Wayne Rooney. We talked about Wayne Rooney for 10 minutes. Talk about what's his face for 3 hours. So, I mean, there's bias. Let's just say there's some bias.
What's his face?
A little bias. Yeah, what's his face?
I stand by that. I stand by that bias. Anyway,
Sporting Kansas City have themselves a new star and this growing cool little trend of obscure German players coming here in MLS and doing a good job. A guy named Eric Tommy from Fortuna Düsseldorf was a key figure for Sporting Kansas City as a new signing of them. He had a good game for them over the weekend. Did he score a goal? I'm trying to think. I should have this stuff ready to go. But he was a big part of what they got going on over there. And I just wanted to say, welcome, Eric, Tommy. Yeah. Who was their last game? Did they lose 3-0 at Sporting Kansas City? Was it their last game?
They lost to
Seattle, to LAFC. LAFC.
Oh, right.
With featuring a Christian Arango scoring.
Seattle was playing Colorado.
Was at Kansas City. I guess they lost, but Eric Tommy is sliding into that Sporting Kansas City. There, right behind Kyrie Shelton, former Paderborn player. And
former NYCFC player, NYCFC's first ever draft pick.
Please, we're way too NYCFC focused. Anyway, Christian Arango scored a great goal, and Steve.
This is not going to go well. We tried to.
This is I'm giving ourselves healthy feedback. All right, we don't talk Nashville ever. We don't talk Atlanta ever.
I reject your notes.
Yeah, I mean, we got to say what we know. How else are we going to get Daniel Young here if we don't talk NYCFC? But anyway, so Sporting Kansas City, Christian Arango scored a great goal, and Steve Trundlo did not have amazing words for him. It's clear that LAFC is maybe trying to get rid of Christian Arango, and any team in the league will gladly take him because Christian Arango has been crushing it. I don't know what the deal is. Gareth Bale came off the bench and scored himself kind of a sleepy little goal, but a goal nonetheless. To get his first goal in MLS. Good on you, Gareth Bale. There's a lot to be excited about LAFC. They added also 2 big players, in Gareth Bale and Chiellini and back, and it seemed to have not disrupted them so far, and their winning streak has continued. So
Chiellini, yeah. Okay, yes.
So good on them, LAFC. It's exciting in LAFC as well. The Italians are coming to play. So I just wanted to mention Eric Tommy and LAFC. The Orlando-Philly game was a fun game. Did you catch this one?
I just was rooting for Orlando in that one. Right. I was hoping for them to take some points, but they did not. Philly is good, you know. They play good defense.
But it should have been a 1-1 game. Did you see what happened at the end?
How should it have been a 1-1 game?
Orlando was denied a pretty clear penalty there at the end.
Oh, okay. I mean,
and at the death, Orlando should have gotten a penalty while it was 1-0 up. Now, granted, I should maybe watch the replay one more time. Maybe it is debatable. But at the time, it seemed pretty clear, and the analyst was saying, like, this should be a penalty. And Orlando, the referee, did not go to VAR, I don't think, did not give him the penalty. And Philly won 1-0, as their great streak also continues. So I just wanted to bring that up, that Philly got a 1-0, but Orlando was tight, and Orlando could have easily tied that game 1-1 if a ref call went the other way. It's funny how first, second, third, and fourth in the East are very similar. First is Philly, and then 1 point behind them is New York with a game in hand.
Oh, don't talk about them.
And then third is who's third? I forgot who it is. Someone's third. It's New York Red Bulls.
You're the other. Yeah, we're not going to talk about them either.
The New York Red Bulls, and then in fourth place is a team that's only 1 point behind as well, which maybe is Montreal.
Yes.
What's the East?
Montreal.
Mm-hmm. We can talk about. I'm not saying we can't. I'm just pointing out that we're just very open on our New York bias here at the Schnitzel Boys. And I just want to be sure that you're as clear about it as we are. There's a podcast, a soccer podcast on ESPN that I listen to sometimes, but I have to stop sometimes because they're so English biased. And one day a German dude emailed them and said, do you consider yourselves to have an English bias? And they both just said no. And they defended why they don't have an English bias on the air. And I was like, this is bullshit.
Well, I would
not. Like, you should know. Yeah,
that is not something I would say. I would not say. If you ask me, do you have an NYCFC bias? I would say, what? No.
Yeah, while wearing your hat. Yeah, while wearing. I'm celebrating the fact that we talked New York, but that's our bias. I just want to throw a little love to the rest of the league. We love the league. I just want to say, Nashville, we're looking at you. Toronto, we're looking at you. Charlotte, we're looking at you. Orlando, Montreal, Vancouver. Vancouver, probably the club that gets talked about the least in any circle.
Well, because they're bad.
I mean, what am I to say about Vancouver?
They are not
good they're just consistently bad.
They're bad.
You know, our former boy Brian White, love for him to come back home.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest about that.
So Philly kept it up. Philly kept it up, if you know what I mean. Philly kept up their win.
That sounded really dirty there for a second.
Philly kept it up.
Philly kept it up.
Philly kept it up. Well, no, they're keeping their undefeated,
keeping their streak alive. Yeah, I mean, and 1-0. That's the result they're built for. They play. Their defense is great, and Daniel Gazdak will score a goal, and then they'll defend it until the end. It's good.
So those are the major news and notes over the weekend. Everybody else doing their thing.
Nashville without Hani Mukhtar could not beat Cincinnati. Oh. I caught a fair bit. I don't know if you're getting there. The Red Bull
Sunday
Austin,
games?
the Sunday games.
Oh yeah, I love talking about the Sunday game. Well, let's talk real quick. NYCFC Miami was Saturday.
Yes,
right?
Let's talk about. Oh, I almost forgot the
NYCFC. Let's do that, and then let's move to Sunday. Let's do Saturday first. Let's move to Sunday.
Well, I was going to say I caught some of that Seattle Colorado game, and there was a little controversy with that free kick. Did you see that?
Remind me, no.
Colorado got an early goal, and really
hold on, is this where they got a foul and did a quick thing, but it was like 20 feet away from where the foul was?
Yeah, but 25 feet backwards.
Right, exactly.
And there was a lot of. Yeah, so there was a foul, and Seattle took it quickly, but like 25 yards backwards from where the foul was committed. Switched the point of attack and very quickly scored a goal. And there was a lot of back and forth. Robin Fraser was very upset, and the referees all huddled and they talked it through, and then the goal stood. And I thought that was interesting because. I mean, it's supposed to happen where the foul was committed or reasonably close to it, and they definitely got a little advantage from being able to switch the play from being that far back. And
essentially what happened was a player got fouled and a ball rolled back 20 yards or something. And then it was like whistle, so a guy put his hand on it real quick.
Nico Ladera just took it quick. And,
so he's like, I'll do it right now. Boom. Which players do all the time, but those get called back. It's like, no. This is where the foul was, you know what I mean? And the whole point of them falling something like that probably is to stop the play. But Seattle's like, no, screw that. Kicked it forward. It's, again, and then I understand what the Colorado was talking about. Like, really, you should have called that back. However, they're disrupting their momentum, and Seattle's like, no, we're going to keep up our momentum. And, good on them. They found him. And, I mean, as a fan, I kind of prefer the fact they let it go because I hate seeing stoppages constantly, and then disrupting the game is getting a little too easy. But
it also sort of negates negates the tactical foul, right? Like if you just kind of keep playing, then because that's the idea. It's like slow things down.
But convention is, but convention would be he should have probably whistled and called that back. Convention,
and it's it's a gray area because oftentimes there is it's rarely really the exact spot. It's often like a little here, a little there, and but this was definitely
the old roll throw. Grab it, take the ball, and then like roll it backwards to you 10 feet in front while throwing it.
But usually that's the thing. Usually people try to move forward, and in this case, because
They just want the momentum.
The idea is, you're going that far backwards, you're not really getting an advantage. But in this case, it was an advantage because they were able to go around the entire defense that way and just cross it diagonally across the field. Anyway, but Seattle, I mean, definitely deserved to win. They were by far the better team. They had like 76% possession or something at some point. But without Rui Diaz, the Jordan Morris, although Jordan Morris had a great finish, but the Jordan Morris Will Bruin tandem is not as fearsome as the Jordan Morris Raul Rui Diaz tandem. So
no. But Jordan Morris is getting still back into form. When Jordan Morris is on form, he's amazing. I'm a big Jordan Morris fan. And you're slow, and we haven't seen the real Jordan Morris yet again, still recovering from injury. And I think I saw him. I thought he had a pretty good game this weekend, so it's good to see him. So getting back into his best self. Yeah. Daniel Young with a question. What do you think about Lambeau Field? Well, real quick, Seattle deserved that win, though. I mean, Colorado obviously had to look up, but Seattle deserved that win, I felt. So good on Seattle. Their second half of the season skid a little bit, but they're getting their points again. Seattle's a little bit of a variable this year, aren't they? A little bit of a wild card. Sometimes they can be great. Sometimes they're not
like
great.
They should be better, but maybe they're coming around. I think without
the CCL champs. Yeah.
Yeah, but without Rui Diaz, their offense is not the same.
Right. Anyway, so Daniel Young, what do you think about Lambeau Field first ever football game this past Saturday night? I think it's great. I love it. I think it's a little too thin. I think it was maybe below FIFA minimums. Which is another thing about these friendlies is they don't really have to adhere to any rules, so they can sort of like bend some rules a little bit. And Lambeau, if you think NYCFC Field is the worst ever in the world, which we both agree, it's a real trash place over there. Then imagine Lambeau Field.
What?
Imagine Lambeau Field. If you think NYCFC is trash, Lambeau Field is extra trash. No, it was a really, really fun. It was a big full house, and it was a lot of fun. And who was it? It was Bayern München's Thomas Muller at Lambeau Field. My worlds are colliding. And Bayern München lost to an early Erling Haaland goal.
Yeah,
Erling Haaland. As the Bundesliga lost its two best players moving into next season, and they're both here in the U.S., crushing it for the clubs respectively, Barca and Man City, as the era of a weakened Bundesliga begins. Like, we got rid of our two world-class players. They're gone now. So, time for some new players.
Well, Mane makes up some of that, no?
That's true. That's true.
Definitely, yeah.
And he's been great this summer. It's been a big hit and stuff. No, that's a fun night out.
Mane hit a penalty kick harder than I've seen, even harder than Alex Collins. Wow. He had a very very forceful penalty.
Was this against Man City?
Yeah. No, against
DC United.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was DC. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just watched these. Daniel, I am not. I don't know if we talked about this earlier. I'm not as excited about these summer friendlies as Stefan is, but that's okay.
I'm not excited about them. It's just like it's fun. They happen. If Stefan Schnitzel was the MLS commissioner, and I mean, obviously,
all tickets will be free.
But let's pretend I couldn't. All tickets will be free. True. This is how I would design the season. I mean, I would design it differently. I'd make it European style, and I would do a little promotion relegation. I'm crazy that way. But if I were to do whatever a summer season, I would do first half of the season the way it's been. Then I would take a break for these summer friendlies, so it's preseason for them and preseason for us too, as we enter the Leagues Cup. So then we have a couple weeks of these summer friendlies. Then we have Leagues Cup for a couple weeks between the U.S. and Mexican clubs. It's a big thing they're touting. And then when that's over, then it's the second half of the season and the playoffs. So nothing. We wouldn't be doing all this stuff at the same time. And it's a great way to explain why we do these summer friendlies. Because it's not just preseason for them. It's also preseason for us in a way as we're getting ready for the Leagues Cup. So it's preseason for both. Then the Leagues Cup, because the Mexican clubs get involved too. I know Club America played Chelsea, I believe, here in the U.S. as well. And then we can head into, and in my opinion, that organizes their season a little bit. So we have room for everything. The marketing guys can make their money off the friendlies. and the marketing guys make money off the U.S.-Mexican competition, and we still have our MLS. And it adds a little excitement because without relegation, sometimes the regular season can feel long and pointless at times. So we shorten the regular season, and then we always have some events. You got the excitement in the beginning of the season. You got the summer friendlies and the summer tournament, and you got the fall playoffs. So it's like you can be really excited 3 quarters throughout the year. That would be a Stefan Schnitzel pitch. That would be my pitch. What do you think, Bjorn?
Yeah, that's a lot of games. I like that part. Yeah, I don't know. I think the season's exciting throughout. I don't know. I guess I don't have.
That'll just be my pitch because it's going to happen anyway.
I think the early season is. I'm just as engaged.
It's going to happen anyway.
The Leagues Cup.
No, I know, but I'm saying the Leagues Cup's going to happen. The summer friendlies are going to happen. Might as well organize a little bit, Yeah,
I like that idea of them being part of the preseason. That would make more sense.
Yeah, as opposed to shoving the friendlies in the middle of our main season, and it always leads to criticism of like, oh, they're in mid form, and you know what I mean. It just leads to negativity, where it's like, well, we're having a series of games to prepare for our Leagues Cup, then it justifies its preseason for both clubs, And there's a little bit of a leg up. We're mid-season.
I think you should write a letter.
I'm going to write a strongly worded letter to Don Garber, MLS commissioner. But anyway, so that's what I think about Lambeau Field. Daniel Lung, tell us your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you watch it? Did you have a good time? Were you there? And then Bjorn, without further ado, tell us about the NYCFC Inter Miami game.
NYCFC. Oh, right.
Are you familiar with that club, NYCFC?
It was passing familiarity.
Okay. You're head to toe in their branding right now.
Well, they send me things. I don't know. I'll just where these packets arrive. I just put it on. It's fine.
So this is your first game over the weekend.
I don't really take a look. On Saturday night. Well, first of all, oh my God, I should have brought it. On Saturday we had I trigger warning for Red Bull fans here. This is going to be a little painful. We had a ring ceremony. We all got championship rings. All season ticket holders, the team, people who were, and I really.
Do you have it? Do you have it with you?
I have it. I mean, I'd have to go get it. It's
Is it good quality? Is it good quality?
It's good quality. It was sort of shocking how good. I mean, it's actual. I was expecting, especially the fan version. First of all, this is like a football, right? This is like an American
right. It's an American thing.
Traditionally do this, but they were announcing this a while back. Oh, everybody's going to get a ring, and I was like, okay, whatever. But then it was real metal. It was pretty heavy, and like once I put it on, it feels pretty awesome, I gotta say, despite my initial misgivings. And so that happened on Saturday during the game. They made us come early to pick up the rings. You got a special ticket, special appointment to go there. Anyway, so that was fun. It's nice.
That's really cool. When France won the 2018 World Cup, the defending champions, I believe it was maybe Paul Pogba or someone initiated making World Cup rings. They made rings for that World Cup winning team, and that was very much inspired by the Super Bowl.
I think that's cool.
So, yeah, good on them. American ideas.
I'll never wear it again, but I have it. It came with a little display thing.
Why would the fans? I mean, I understand it's available for purchase, but it's cool they send it out for free. Maybe as a try before you buy. Like maybe the next time they won't. You have to buy it or something. I don't know. Like of all the why would you wear a ring of your team that won the one title? It's a little obscure to me, but. If you want to, you can. So the option
like I said, I thought I also was a little bewildered by it, but then actually experiencing it, I was like, "This is pretty cool."
Because with soccer, cool. The difference between soccer and American sports is that we all have different trophies to compete. Where in American sports like NFL, it's one trophy, one trophy.
That's true. Yeah.
So if you win it, it's the big thing.
You're not going to put it. You're not going to make a ring for the Supporters Shield. It's like, this
Well,
is
but
it.
no, but like, what's a bigger title? What's a bigger title like in Europe? I would say for Bayern München, is it the Champions League title or the league title?
Oh, it's
like
the
if you have to go to the ring,
Champions
League, right?
Yeah.
And then here, maybe Seattle, if they made CONCACAF Champions League rings,
maybe they need a ring.
Maybe
too,
that's
yeah.
bigger than MLS Cup. I don't know. It's like
well, I'm definitely all for. I'm all about the rings, and I think the more rings, the better. I think it's good. It was a high quality item. I wore it proudly. I don't know. I might bust it out. I'll bring it on the show next week.
Share a photo. We gotta see what we got here.
Anyway, so that
Daniel
happened.
Young. He was watching NYCFC versus Inter Miami.
You and me
Stadium.
both. You and me both. And and then the game. Inter Miami are not that good. They have their and also, I mean, Phil Neville again talking about the field. I mean, really, please, people just need to stop talking about the stadium. I mean, honestly, it's tired.
Oh, Phil Neville brought up.
It's a baseball pitch. It's like, come on. It's the same size as Craven Cottage. If it's good enough for the Prem, it's good enough for anywhere else, and people just use it as an excuse. I don't know. It's like, just stop. Both teams are playing on it. It's just lame. Bruce Arena.
Move to Lambeau Field.
Bruce Arena, Phil Neville. It's like everybody's like,
Stefan Schnitzel.
The field.
Right.
Get whatever. Deal with it. And we had Maximo Morales had a great game. He scored an early goal, and then everybody, of course, was waiting. This was Tati Castellanos' last game. He went on a plane today to Girona, and is already there. There's already video of him arriving in his new place. Anyway, on Saturday it was his final game. Everybody's waiting for him to score. He did score. He was called off for offside. Kind of. I don't know about controversial. Like, it's hard to, but it looked very, very close. I think if the referee had given it, I don't think it would have been disallowed. But the call on the field was offside, and so they kept it that way. It was very close. Anyway, very dominant performance. Our defense, though, still a little iffy. We definitely gave up more than, but they have, like, Gonzalo Higuain was not good. I think their new striker was out. I don't know, injury maybe. Leonardo Campana.
Yeah,
he was not present, and Higuain did not have a good game. Thiago Martins looked incredible. Our new center back looked really good. Had his best game, and we'll have to see. The future will have to tell if that's because he is good or Inter Miami was just so bad offensively. So it should have been more. There should have been more goals. And then in the 60th minutes, Tati got taken off to great ovation. And then Haber came in for him and scored immediately. Right. And it's kind of like you were saying that last week, like the Red Bulls don't have any nines. We have two. Like, I think now we're down to one.
Right.
But I think Haber is going to do a good job. And anyway, 2-0 victory.
And the Nick Cushing, the Nick Cushing winning streak continues.
Yeah,
so
four games in a row. It sounds like there was a little bit of talk today in regards to Tati. And it sounds like just sort of along, you can just hear kind of between the lines. It seems like Cushing has this job for the time being. I don't think they're really looking for anybody else right now. He's won 4 in a row. He feels like, we could use another midfielder who he feels good about our attacking talent. Haber is going to do a good job. Thales Magno can play there. Thales Magno had another great game. I think we're doing all right. The defense is still weirdly disengaged at times, and we give up a lot of chances. Although Sean Johnson, also has to be said, was great, and he again, I would still promote him as a World Cup keeper potentially. If everybody else is on the bench, Sean Johnson is playing, and he's getting shutouts, he's getting saves,
right?
He is now, I think he is now 4th on the all-time MLS shutout list, I believe.
That's good. Might probably behind Nick Raimondo, maybe.
Nick Raimondo,
like
Kevin
Hartman?
Kevin Hart,
Kevin
Kevin
Hart
Hartman.
is a famous
yes, Nick
comedian.
Raimondo, Kevin Hartman, and Stefan Fry. Actually, I think is two ahead of him, so he could perhaps catch him. Anyway.
Well, Zach Steffen and Ethan Horvath are playing next season because they're on loans and doing their thing.
Yeah,
Matt Turner's on the bench. I would still think Sean Johnson gets the nod over Ethan Horvath. I'll tell you that.
He should get it over Zach Steffen too. I mean, Zach Steffen has just not been good. I mean, that's just
we'll see. I mean, I'd be very surprised if Sean Johnson starts the World Cup. I think he's part of the roster.
Yeah, I would be too. I think
it's between Matt Turner and Zach Steffen. Yeah.
I don't believe he's going to be, but because of my well-known NYCFC bias, my legendary NYCFC bias, I'm going to keep promoting Sean Johnson.
It's a fact. Don't be offended by it. Of course you have an NYCFC. Yeah.
No, I'm embracing it. I'm not saying that sarcastically.
I have a New York Red Bulls bias. And there's also some transfer stuff. Maybe we'll say that for a little bit later. So good on NYCFC doing their thing. Good on players doing well. Let's talk I'll save the transfer stuff for a little bit later. But then we have the 2 games on Sunday. I'll save my game for a second, because even though it came first, because I'm really excited about it. But we had the LA Galaxy play Atlanta United at Star Wars Night. It was the Star Wars Night at the Galaxy Stadium. I almost went, but did not, because I went to a friend's barbecue instead and was tired and went home, watched the game on TV. Right. But it was still the LA Galaxy under a lot of scrutiny this year, especially from their fans. And just in general, the LA Galaxy under Chris Klein and Jovan Kirovski, people are a little confused on who's making the decisions and also the general direction of the decisions they're making. So as a club, they're a little aimless right now. And they're still out. I think they're in. Finally, they had a good 2-0 win over the weekend against Atlanta United at home, and that puts them in a playoff spot for right now. What does
Joe Village have to do to get to start a game? It's like
I don't know.
What is happening? He comes off the bench. He scores every time. This guy Kevin Cabral can't hit the.
I know.
Can't hit the broadside of a barn.
Yeah, he's worse than he's like Kevin Cabral is like an overpriced Jassie's artist.
He is like Alfredo Morata. Yeah. He does all the hard stuff and then just shanks it sideways
at the end.
Crazy. And
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't understand. It seems like
Well, I think he finally earned it. So we'll probably see a little more Joe Village moving forward. Douglas Costa. Like the signings are bad. Cabral, Costa. Just these disappointing signings.
Costa, the very first game that we were at, right? The season opener. Yeah. We were in the city. We were watching it live. We're like, that guy's done. Like it was.
I know. We're like, oh yeah, I didn't even know. He played for Bayern München not 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It blows my mind.
I guess it was like 4 or 5. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know, but then he was also Juventus. Yeah.
I was a fan of his when he was playing for Bayern. I thought he was really impressive.
Right.
And I don't know what's happened if it's a I don't know
during the MLS
what's happening in his life, but he's not ready to play.
During the MLS All-Star Weekend, I want them to have Gonzalo Higuain and Douglas Costa do a one-on-one match in the heat on a full field and see which one melts first. Just have them go out there and be like, battle of the has-beens, battle of the battle of the burnouts.
But Costa makes Higuain look like Tati
Leo
Messi. He's
this is what I want as the fans. When the Athletic releases their most overrated players of 2011 or whatever, not 2011, of 2021. You know how they release those lists where there's just a list of the most overpaid players in the league. I want there to be an MLS event where I want an 11 of the league's most overpaid plays another 11 of the league's most overpaid. They have to earn their paychecks in this game. But yeah, so good on them for the Galaxy. 2-0 over Atlanta United. Still, the two major clubs historically, Atlanta more recently, that are both a little aimless right now. Atlanta and LA Galaxy. So it's the battle of the aimless juggernauts. And the LA Galaxy won that 2-0 at home. Good on them. Then there was the main event, New York Red Bulls versus Austin FC in Austin, Texas. And you'd think Austin would run away with this. They're in great form. It's in Austin. New York Red Bulls, no number 9s. Or do we? Perhaps we do have 2 number 9s from our academy in young Serge Ngoma, who is still impressing the young 16 or I think recent 17-year-old.
Yep.
Came on the field, scored a great goal. Really, really bossing up top. And unfortunately hobbled off at the 30th minute and is injured, so we have to keep an eye on that. New York Red Bulls playing a heavily rotated squad because we have a really big semifinal on Wednesday against Orlando for the U.S. Open Cup. Which could be our first piece of silverware this year, so I'm keeping an eye on that. But they played their kids. They played Daniel Eneman. They played Caden Clark, both fresh from the U20 tournament that they won. There were 4 teenagers in the starting lineup. They played Serge Ngoma. Cameron Harper came on to replace an injured Serge Ngoma, also one of our young academy number 9s. And Cameron Harper got the goal of the game, in my opinion. He just ran in the ball and bossed it. And it was a very comfortable, dominant 4-3 win for the New York Red Bulls. And they did it entirely. Austin FC had like 80% of the possession. New York Red Bulls did it entirely by high press,
counterattack,
stealing the ball in transition, like when Austin FC has the ball, because statistically that's where most turnovers happen. And to a T, the New York Red Bulls just played right into their strengths. They turned over the ball and scored 4 goals throughout the game, and had a very dominant display against Austin FC. Austin FC were able to pull a couple goals back to finish it 4-3. So it was a little
they almost
at the end.
It was a weird game, right? Like the Red Bulls definitely looked good right off the right from the jump. They looked ready to go. They were very dangerous. They had I think at least 1 or 2 offside goals.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Allowed early on. Right. Like it was definitely.
Caden Clark had
also,
one. Yeah.
Some of this has to be. We have to qualify. Brad Stuver, former NYCFC, Sean Johnson's former backup. Brad Stuver has COVID, and so he had to bow out. And his replacement Andrew Tarwell did not have a good game. So
I get, but wasn't really the goalkeeper. You know what I
mean, for 2 of the 4, you could definitely make that case, I would think.
You know who scored a goal, by the way, speaking of number 9s? Serge Ngoma scores a goal. Cameron Harper scores a goal. And Tom Barlow scores a goal. Mm-hmm. Barlow, who can't buy a goal, scored a pretty dang confident goal. Shot it right in the back of the net. He's also coming off the bench as part of the rotation. And all our forwards scored a goal except for Patrick Klimala. Our most expensive one had little to offer. But the other 3 goal scorers all had plenty to offer. And, hopefully they stay rested.
And yet you almost pissed it away at the end. I mean, it was a weird game. This could have easily ended up 6-1 for the Red Bulls, but it also could have very easily been tied in the end. I thought
4-4.
Austin. Yeah, I thought Austin. I don't know if I want to call it naive or like just a little bit sort of very persistently sort of trying to pass through the press and really just not really happening.
It failed.
And
they were playing right into our hands.
Yeah, never really adjusted for the entirety of the game. I thought that was a little.
But that's a clear.
Odd.
That game was a clear tactical victory on our behalf and on Gerhard Struba. Like we got their number when it came to tactics that day, and it showed. And unfortunately, we had a couple injuries, but we have a big game on Wednesday. We're saving ourselves for. So good on you, boys. Let's do it. Let's go on Wednesday. Let's do Orlando. And maybe
Let's do Orlando.
Let's do Orlando.
I'm going to Orlando. I'm going to support the blue team on the road in Orlando.
Oh, you should go early and support the red team. You know, New York. You know,
yeah,
New York has got to stick together. So I just want to say that was a great game for the Rebels. Looking good.
Yeah.
I still think we should sign a number 9. Gerhard Struba came out saying our roster is perfect, is what he said, and I would disagree. Don't get ahead of ourselves. We have a lot of great young players. I don't think
Gerhard Struba is perfect.
No. Hey, I love Struba, man. I love my Struba. He says things, and a lot of it makes no sense, but he's very quotable. It was very quotable. And
our immobile center backs. Yeah.
Well, anyway, he got the tactics right today, and he might be prepping the fans for being like, listen, Austria called. They're not going to give us any money to sign a new number 9. So enjoy the academy kids, because that's who we got.
We've got these two.
Yeah. And honestly, good on them, because that's where they're supposed to be coming from. So if we got kids, if Cameron Harper is the real deal, a little raw, but if he can make it happen, then that's who I want. Greg Berhalter was doing the rounds this week, and he was on Alexi Lalas' State of the Union.
Mm-hmm.
Alexi Lalas asked him,
John Brooks. What do you got against John Brooks? I saw that too.
Right. He said nothing. But they also asked him about number 9s. And Greg Berhalter just looked him right in the eye and says, I don't know. That's all he offered. He's like, I have no idea. He's like, I don't know why we have no number 9.
What is he going to say?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's just like, Ricardo Pepi's young or whatever. But it's also a little unfair, because I think the game is shifting. I think on allocation disorder, they're talking about how the number 10 is getting sort of phased out, which is interesting to me. But the number 9 is just such a rare. I think there's a lot more on that position these days than there've ever been, and finding a super effective number 9 is just hard. Like most clubs are looking for a number 9, aren't they?
Sure.
The only clubs that have number 9s are the top elite clubs, or like the top half clubs, or the top flight clubs. Plenty of clubs are playing without a number 9. I mean, I know the New York Red Bulls are, So I just think it's a little unfair to be like, where are number 9s? Like, where are anybody's number 9s? Where are Germany's number 9s? Who's
where's
number 9 for Deutschland?
I was just going to say, where's Germany's number 9? Timo Werner, who can mostly be found by the corner flag most of the time. Yeah.
It's Kai Havertz, and Kai Havertz is not a traditional number 9. He's a false 9.
He's the falsest of 9s.
It's the falsest of 9s. So it's not just an us thing. So it's definitely a thing. I talked about John Brooks, just about, again, he said nothing personal. It's just he wasn't doing our tactics. So who knows?
Jesus Ferreira scored a goal again for Dallas in the win, in their road win.
Dallas?
I mean,
that's
he's, right. I think... Right? If you had to pick right now, he'd be it.
Yeah, it's Jesus Ferreira. I mean, the starting lineup, if Wales were tomorrow, it'd be Zach Steffen, probably. Even though I'd want to be Zach Manton, it'd be Zach Steffen. It'd be Sergino Dest, if he's healthy, or DeAndre Yedlin, or whoever. It would be Walker Zimmerman, Chris Richards. It would be Jedi Robinson on the left. It'd be MMA in the middle. Up top, it would be Christian Pulisic, Jesus Ferreira, and then probably Tim Weah, I would say. If not Timo Weah, Brendan Aronson. And there you go. That's our lineup against Wales.
He seems to be reluctant. I think Tim Weah is also a good option on the 9.
Yeah.
Spot.
I think people have been talking about that. I think that the thing about that is, like, it's the worst of both worlds. Like, he's not a great number 9. His skill is on the wing. So what's the point of putting him in a position he's just not good at? Just have him on the field. Fair. You know what I mean? Okay, Daniel Young, him said, I was told
the San Francisco Giants teats. Game.
Yeah, the Oracle Park, which I thought was called Levi Stadium. Is that the same stadium? It'll be Real Madrid versus Club America. That'll be a fun game.
Used to be Pac Bell Park. My
used to be Candlestick Park at one point.
Candlestick Park. That's the Niners. No.
Oh, what am I thinking of? Yeah, isn't that that's San Francisco?
Yeah, but this is the Giants. That's the baseball.
Oh, the baseball stadium. Aha, that's where I'm confused. They're playing at a baseball stadium. Interesting.
Oh, who would ever do such a thing?
Oh,
what a disgrace.
What a disgrace. Maybe I'll go and be like, now this is a baseball field experience. The best one in the country. So I'm just egging you on the whole time. Hopefully that'll be a fun game. Hopefully you watch it, Daniel.
It's working.
Maybe you'll go. Are you going to go to the game, Daniel? Let us know. Just a quick thing about transfer news.
Going to San Francisco.
Well, maybe. Who knows? You never know. You never know his travel plans. So the top 10 free agents was released, and you and I both perhaps are losing a pretty decent center back. The big one for me is Aaron Long. That's maybe on his way out. He wants Walker Zimmerman the money. He deserves it. New York Red Bulls, if I were the New York Red Bulls GM, I'd just pay the man. He deserves it. He's our captain. We lose our captains too much. I don't know what the deal is. He's good, but maybe a little too old for Europe, so we can keep him here in MLS. And then you are losing Alex Collins, perhaps.
Yeah. That's the perfect man. Alex Collins, the perfect man.
If we lose Aaron Long, we'll take him. What if we switched? What if you guys bought Aaron Long and we got Alex Collins?
Well, I think Alex Collins was probably counting on a good World Cup showing, and was hoping
to go to Europe or something. Yeah.
Except Peru lost their qualifying tiebreaker, so he's not going.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means, if that makes him now more likely to renew with us, or if he has other plans. I mean, he's been here for 5 seasons now, I want to say, or 4. So he's, if he wants to go somewhere else for a bigger paycheck, he probably could, and he should, and wonderful. But yeah, that's a big loss. He's great. He's great.
Yeah.
And he's also just I mean, he's a club icon. So yeah, it'd be hard to see him go.
Aaron Long might also try and do the World Cup route. Maybe he's a little on the older side, but maybe he has one last shot in Europe after this World Cup. We'll see. I would hate to lose Aaron Long to another MLS club that just offered him a salary, because it's like he's earned it. I hope if he stays in MLS, hopefully New York Red Bulls will pay him.
Well, the Red Bulls have treated him poorly, right? They also blocked. He had a couple of offers
West Ham
to go to Europe, and
West Ham offer, yeah.
Yeah,
it was low.
This is actually, I don't know.
Low.
I don't know if you wanna talk about that a little bit, about how our. I mean, I was texting today about the Tati Castellanos thing, and about how, it's now the sort of surprising thing. There was this assumption that he was going to be picked up by Man City and then put on loan. Now it's a straight up loan from NYCFC to Girona.
Okay.
And then I was surprised. So we're losing him basically for little or nothing. And then David Lee, the what is he, sporting director? He was saying how they really feel like they really, and it's sort of this picks up where we left off last year about these. The value, the people just don't value MLS talent in the same way if they're at that age. And so he was saying no one really came through with an offer that they felt was appropriate. And so but at the same time, they were saying how now was the time, because this has been going on for a year and a half. He had offers from Palmeiras early 2021, and they convinced him. They said, no, stay. You'll have a great year. You'll do much better. You'll have more options. And that worked out. And then he thought maybe leave in January. They talked him into it again. Anyway, so now it was really time. Everybody felt like it has to happen. And so they thought, we're loaning him to Girona, and he'll play there for a year, and then he'll do well, and his value will go up. And then, David Lee was saying a lot of teams in a year will wish they would have paid the $50 million or whatever it was that they want now. And we'll see how that goes. I mean, it'll be interesting. I hope that I hope
think
it
it's
works
a smart
out.
move.
I hope it works out for him. I think it was also in the absence of any really other good offers, and feeling like it had to happen. It wasn't going to be a good situation if they made him stay. And this is what I was gonna talk about, sort of also in contrast to this Aaron Long situation, where really, and there's many, we talked about this last week, there's many stories in MLS where teams really get in the way of players moving, and because the league is so skewed in the team's favor, they have these unilateral options. After every year, they can just extend, and so that gets tiresome for players. And NYCFC really hasn't done it that way. They have been very player friendly, accommodating Jimmy Sands, now accommodating Tati Castellanos. And Mix Discarud, I had some occasion to visit his Wikipedia page, because he was, when they got him in 2015 as a non-DP player, that was a bit of a coup at the time. Mix Discarud was kind of a rising star in the U.S. men's national team. Now, he turned out to be not great. And so it was never clear he scored our first goal ever, and it was never clear what his position was. And so in 2017, they cut him. They just bought out.
Right, he went to Man City for a day.
His product, but I think that's what happened. I think probably also under the table, CFG made promises to him and his agent's family, whatever, and said, we'll take care of you long term if you come to us. because he was still on the books for them last year. He had a contract.
Oh,
He signed a
wow.
4-year contract with City, and of course he was never even going to sniff their locker
Yeah, so
room.
he's making good money.
And
He's
so
making good money. Yeah.
they loaned him out to various places. He was in back in Norway.
Well,
He was
you were
somewhere
lucky to be part. You're lucky. I guess this is the advantage of being part of a global football consortium, because essentially it's one big master company that has hundreds of players just in its reserves on the books at any given time.
Right.
So
well, and they
so
have
if-
they have big resources. They have a lot of
Right.
it's easy for them. But I think it's not just that. It's also there is that philosophy where they have done well compared to other MLS teams. They've done very well in attracting young talent, and I think that's a
Right.
reason. That's a reason
because they have a bigger umbrella. They have a bigger
umbrella,
right.
and
Right,
they
right.
have a reputation for taking care of people and being like, okay, we're not going to stand your way. We're going to find a solution that works for everyone, because they have done that.
Right.
And that's why somebody like Talis Magno, somebody like Santi Rodriguez, these pretty high level talents can come. And I think other teams, I think the Aaron Long thing comes to mind, other like DC or other teams are even worse. I think Kansas City, or like, these teams that really just won't let players go at all ever.
Right.
And I think agents or young players who are looking for teams, I think they take notice of that, and that makes a difference.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But you're saying it's a win-win for everybody. Is it a win for NYCFC? Aren't they the losers of this?
Well, I mean, it is. That's what I was saying. That's how this I started this thread. It's like it is sort of hard in the short term to see these people, like, I mean, Jimmy Sands and Tati Castellanos specifically, just leave for next to nothing, on these loan deals.
Right.
But I think that's how it is a win. Like, it's in the big picture, I think we will find other people to come because of the willingness to let people go, and I would rather.
NYCFC is borrowing players. NYCFC borrows their players. It's part of like the large umbrella of it all, and it's like it's a clear stopping point. How do I say it? A short stop or a rest stop for some of the international players.
I think if you put it that way, I think it sounds a little. I mean, Tati was here for 4 years. It's not like he just showed up for 6 months and then got sold somewhere. Like, he's, and he was developed in a big way. I mean, if Haber doesn't get injured in 2020, he never even gets the number 9 position. He was a winger. Right. He was a winger that had a hard time scoring when he first arrived. So it's not.
No, but it's good for flexibility, because MLS does overvalue its players, or shall I say, the value of its players is correct, but the value means much more domestically than anywhere else. So like the guys like Aaron Long or Walker Zimmer or anybody, and they have value in our MLS's own little economy we have here. But in relation to the world's game, no. Like Aaron Long was blocked from West Ham because I think they offered $3 million, which is nothing. And honestly, especially in this day and age from an English club, that's kind of pathetic too, to be honest.
Oh, that's what it was? Well, that's
it was $3 to $5 million or something. I think maybe $5 million on the high end. And Red Bulls are just like, no, we'll sell you, but not for that much money, And he wanted to go. He just wanted to go. Now, granted, he's in that big contract, so he was not a free agent. He had to stay. Mm-hmm. But especially in the old days, that's how much an MLS player is worth. He is worth $5 million. But in MLS, he's worth more than $5 million, especially if a Ricardo Pepi will go for $16 million or $20 million. And they have other examples of MLS players. I don't know, we should come with a list, but usually it's at least $10 to $15 million.
But they haven't, like we talked about last week, they haven't consistently done that.
No, it's never worked out. That's what I'm saying. We value that's why there's two different economies. When MLS translates to the world market, they don't have much pulling power, which is why a big club like NYCFC and also in a way Atlanta United, they have to work out these loan arrangement deals, that kind of stuff. It's not just a direct transfer.
Right. And then my friend was saying like, oh, this is all just in service of Man City or in the pyramid of, and it's like not really. Like, Tati Castellanos is never going to play for City. Like, and these are peanuts financially. Compared to the City budget, so it's not like we're all just like the feeder club.
New York Red Bulls is exactly the same thing. we're technically we're part of a global network and we have that kind of flexibility too. Some players in their books come here. A lot of them tend not to work out, and people criticize us for the fans and like we're a feeder club. It's like I wish we were more of a feeder club. We sold Matt Miazga went to Chelsea because Red Bull couldn't match that payment. That was a $5 million deal, which at the time was valuable. And then Tyler Adams was bought a couple years ago because he's like a wunderkind. He was great. Right. Other than that, I know Caden Clark. They bought Caden Clark. That's the third example, and it's been the New York Red Bulls since 2006. So, like, we're not really sending players over there. I know they're trying to. I remember when Ralph Ragnick was involved a couple years ago. His quote was like Tyler Adams isn't enough. We need more young talent coming up through and stuff like that. And so like Caden Clark was an example of that. Maybe guys like Cameron Harper, all these young guys. I don't know. That's the idea. But what happens is they end up just being really good club players for us. So it's like good. We'll take it. Like guys like Connor Lade and things like that. Well trained club players that do well. And between that whole network, I would say we've taken way more advantage of them than they've taken of us. Because we take all their like obscure signings that they've scouted for the big clubs that never made it. We'll take them, and they tend to do well here, like a Danny Royer, like a I don't know, like anybody. I mean, like any of those obscure. Kaku. Maybe he was a little bit less of a success, but like guys like that.
He was pretty good when he was, and then he didn't.
When he was playing, yeah.
When he didn't want to, he didn't want to be here. When he wasn't hitting, when he wasn't hitting fans in the face with.
I don't remember that story. He never really played under Jesse Marsh. Didn't really play with the number 10, so it was two. There was also a guy named Gonzalo something before that, who for 3 years just never got consistent.
Right. The Argentina
who went back to Argentina.
He was more of a winger though, right? Like
right.
Yeah.
But Jesse Marsh played him, and then Kaku, same thing. He was sort of more of an off the bench guy. Like Jesse Marsh just never played with an Argentinian number 10, like other clubs did. But what I'm saying is like we're supposed to be sending them players, and I would love for Americans to go in Leipzig and do well, but like Red Bull's gotten their best talent out of Philly lately with the Aaronsons and things like that. Mm-hmm. They're just looking at MLS as a whole, and then bringing them in development. So, I think there's a way to strike a really win-win balance, and I think for all things considered, I think the fans can be a little unfair about that. Talos Magno is a good example. He's raw. He's an all-around guy. He's developing. He's in NYCFC. When he's more finished product, he will then go to a bigger club. He'll be ready for them, and he'll have given you plenty of service already. You know what I mean? So it's the economics of it.
It's I'm good with it, and I'm also This is not. I'm not going to talk for 3 weeks about how upset I am that Tati left. Like I think it's fine. Like this is.
This is week 2. This is week 2.
It's a fine. No, it's a good situation for all involved, and I feel better about it now than I felt last week. Even the Girona thing, maybe it works out, and only one.
I think it will.
It only takes one. Right now, like we were saying, the fashion is to get the people young out of the academy, but it only takes one guy who can really change perception, and maybe Tati is that guy. We'll see.
Yeah, and he's got the talent to do well in La Liga. We'll see. It's going to be struggling for him because he's in quite a small club.
He's got the work rate and the tenacity, and those are qualities that will translate, I think.
All right, Daniel Young, shortstop. I thought Yankee Stadium had two of the greatest players of all time in Derek Jeter and Tati Castellanos. Both brought championships. Ha ha ha. Calling Tati Castellanos one of the greatest players of all time is a little bit of an overstatement. But
what?
I think it is, Mr. Bias, Mr. OSCC Bias. But good job. You guys have two great players. Derek Jeter probably is. I don't think that's overstating Derek Jeter. He was a legend for his time in the Yankees. Good championships.
He's good at soccer? I didn't know.
At baseball, because you play at Yankee Stadium, which I don't know if you know, Bjorn. It's when they don't play soccer there. They play baseball. They play Yankees baseball. Home of Babe Ruth, the house that Ruth built, and all that stuff.
That explains so much.
Yeah, that explains the diamond shape
about that stadium and all the art they have there.
Yeah, and the mound and the seventh. Do you guys have a 75? Do you guys have a 75-minute stretch? 75-minute stretch.
60. There's a song. There's a song that. Well, anyway, no, we don't.
Da-da-da-da-da! Goal! Soccer goal!
The ground screw doesn't do any dances when the...
Take me out to the soccer game. Take me out to the something.
Out.
I want some
some
worst and
peanuts
some... I'm trying to think, what's a soccer thing? Buy me some beer and some sausages. I don't care if James Sands ever comes back. It'll be root for the soccer team.
NYCFC.
CFC lose all their players.
Win, it's a
shame because it's 1, 2, 3 goals to a hat trick in the old soccer game.
Soccer football
game. Fußball. Speaking of football, do you have any big things? I have one closing sad statement to end our podcast. Unless you have anything überbringt, everything dringend that you want to talk about? Anything?
I don't think so. I don't think there was any. Bochum announced a new player, Jannis Horn, who I'd never heard of.
Nice.
So that's
where's he from? He's from the academy or where?
He played. He played for Köln most recently. He's a sort of a utility defender. He can play left back. He can play center back.
If I'm Bochum, I would just wait for all the Germans MLS to have their contract expire and just sign them all. Just do it. Get Hani Mukhtar, get Julian Gressel, get this.
I don't know.
Fabian Herbers.
We may be the only Bundesliga team that cannot beat MLS salaries.
Perhaps. But speaking of Germany and German things, we lost a great legend over the weekend.
Oh, Uwe Seeler!
Uwe Seeler passed away. The great Uwe Seeler, thick, big-ass feet, a Hamburger legend from my neck of the woods. He played for HSV for many years. He was their Sportdirektor for many, many years. Back in the day when players were local homeboys and they just lived in their club, and that was it. They're either from Schalke, Hamburg, or Bayern München, or Gladbach, or wherever they were from, and that's just where they lived. Like the great Fritz Walter is always associated with Kaiserslautern. And Uwe Seeler passed away. He's famous. There's that 1966 photograph of him crying after they won the 1960 World Cup final. Although apparently it was just him going down to tie his shoes, and it just looks like he's crying. But still, a very famous photo. Google it, look it up. After the final, and then was he part of the '74 squad, or was he already retired by that? I think he never won a World Cup.
I don't think he was. No, that was the.
I think he was a part of that '66 squad, and that was about it. So he's one of the better players to have never won a World Cup.
Yeah.
Was he part of the Euros? Let's see here. Let me look up right here. Hamburg striker, born in Norderstedt, Germany. He played for West Germany from '54 to '72, but he was not part of the '54 World Cup. I think he was probably one of the youngins after that World Cup.
Yeah.
But still a great, great German legend. He passed away. Our thoughts and feelings out to his family and loved ones. He was kind of on the younger side, right? I think he was only
83.
He was 85. 85 he died.
That's
on July 21st. And for an athlete,
on the younger side?
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
I think I won't
good
ask
run.
I won't ask for my money back if I make it to 85. I'll be like, all right, that seems good.
Me neither. He's a good run, Uwe Seeler. We wish you all the best. In your next phase. You are no longer.
I got his autograph at a celebrity game.
Oh, really? When was this?
Years ago. Oh, in the 80s, a long time ago.
Was he playing?
He was playing, yeah, and he was pretty chubby. Wow. I mean, kleines dickes Uwe. That's what they would call him. Little chubby Uwe.
That's fun. Wasn't there also kleines dickes Müller? Right, Gerd Müller was called that, wasn't he?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. They like to
so they were. Yeah, back then, I guess. Yeah, he was considered a little girthy, but yeah, very amicable guy, and just seemed like a solid dude. Yeah. I'm glad you brought him up.
Rest in peace, Uwe.
I'm glad you brought up Uwe.
Uwe. Your thoughts are in the Schnitzel Boys. Although our minds are in New York, our hearts might still be on the other side of the pond.
Listen, we have we have room for, our hearts are big enough for a lot of people.
Yeah, my heart is terribly enlarged. Okay, on that note, Uwe Seeler, bis nächstes Mal.
We're done.
Okay, tschüss. This was Schnitzel Boys, MLS heating up. We got will the New York Rebels make it to the Open Cup Finals by next week? Maybe.
Spoiler alert, they will not.
Spoiler alert, they will. And you know what I want? I want for them to go to Sacramento to play the final, and I will get my car, I'll drive up to Sacramento, and I'll be there when the New York Rebels gets their first piece of hard silverware. That's now the Supporter Shield trophy. All right, cool. Anyway, we've been the Schnitzel Boys. We're a podcast, we're a YouTube video. Tell your friends and family, love us, like us, subscribe.
Talk about New York teams only.
New York team. Tell your New York friends. We're New York biased. Anyway, tschüss, bis nächste Woche.